Hi Bobcats, this is Miss Lee, and today's video lesson is on histograms. If you take a look at the picture, you might think, well, this looks like a bar graph. And you're right, it does look like a bar graph, but there are some differences between a histogram and a bar graph. So let's go ahead and get started. Please make sure you're taking good notes as you watch the video. Okay, so a histogram is a type of bar graph used to show the distribution of data in equal intervals. Okay, intervals is your clue word there. Sometimes you have so many pieces of data in your data set that you can't put it on a dot plot. You can't put it in a stem and leaf plot. You need a way to organize the data to where you can see it, and that's by using intervals. If you look down here, we're talking about the number of schools and how many photocopies they make, and you can see that it can be anywhere from 800 photocopies to 1,299 photocopies. Can we make a line plot with those numbers going 800, 801, 802, 803, all the way to 1,299? No, there's no way you could do that on your paper. Same thing for stem and leaf. Too many numbers, too hard to do, so you can do a histogram. And histogram, instead of using individual numbers, it uses intervals. 800 to 899, 900 to 999, 1,000 to 1,099, and so on. The same thing for a second histogram, the distance from school, from 1/10 of a mile to 1 mile. From 1 1/10 of a mile to 2 miles. And you'll notice that the intervals are the same amount. That's the same interval. 800 to 899, it covers 99 photocopies. 900 to 999, again, 999 photocopies. So it's the same interval. Okay, let's look a little bit more at these characteristics and make sure we've got a good understanding. Okay, there are no spaces in the bars or between the bars. Why are there no spaces? That's because the price of these control airplanes, remote control airplanes, goes from $25 to $49.99 straight to $50. So there's no space in between the $49.99. It doesn't go from $49.99 to $50 and a penny, right? It goes directly to $50. So there's no spaces between the bars. All intervals are equal, so the bars are the same width. So we talked about how the intervals are equal amounts. Because they're equal, that means the width of the bars, how wide the bars are all going to be the same. So they're going to look the same. What's different is how tall the bars are. But the width, it's all the same. You're not going to have a skinny bar here and a wider bar over here. They're going to be the same width. And then lastly, the intervals with a frequency of 0 have a bar height of 0. Okay, so here you can see there is no bar. That's because none of the airplanes cost between $125 and $149.99. So you don't draw a bar. You just leave that interval blank. It has a frequency of 0. Okay, let's create one. The following data shows the daily wages of 12 workers in dollars. Okay. The frequency is always going to be over here on the y-axis. This is your frequency, the number of times it happens. Okay, we're talking about the wages. So we create an equal intervals for the wages, and we list those intervals down here on the x-axis. They've already been done. It's already been done for us. So our first interval goes from 51 to 60. So we need to count how many workers get paid between $51 and $60. Well, there's one right here. I'm just going to kind of cross it off, and we're going to 60, not 61. Here's 2, keep going. 55 makes 3, and that's it. Okay, 3. So then you would draw your bar going from the 0 up to the 3. So it would look like this. Oops, there we go. And it covers the whole interval. It's not going to be just a skinny little bar like right here. It's the whole interval just like you see here. Do the same thing for 61 to 70. Here's a 61, here's a 70, that's 2. There's a 65, well that falls in between 61 and 70, so that makes 3. There's 4, 5, there's 6. So we would draw our bar and it would go from the 0 to the 6. 71 to 80, it's what we have left, and there are 1, 2, 3 of them. So we would draw our bar, and there we go. So that would be our histogram. And you could double check. We know that we have 12 workers. So our total frequency should be 12. So we can go and we can add 3 plus 6, well that's 9, plus 3 makes the 12. So we've graphed it correctly. Okay, you can also use your daily wage histogram to answer lots of questions. So let's just go through them. First of all, mode. Well, what does the mode mean? Which occurs the most. So which wage interval occurs the most? $61 to $70. So you put 61 to 70. True or false? There are 51 to 60 workers who have a wage of $4. Well, $4 isn't even an option for our wages, is it? So that one is definitely false. Make sure that you have the labels in the right place, because sometimes they like to trick you up and to switch them up. Range, we know the range is the distribution. What is the spread? It's the highest number minus the lowest. So what is the highest number, highest possible wage? 80. What's the lowest possible wage? 51. So you would subtract those. 80 minus 51 is 29. Okay, true or false? There are 6 workers who have a wage within $61 to $70. $61 to $70 come up. Yes, there are 6 workers, so that is true. True or false? There were more workers who had a wage between 71 and 80 than there were between 51 and 60. All right, let's count them. 71 to 80, there are 3. 51 to 60, well, that's also 3. So this one would be false because they have the same amount of workers, don't they? Okay, is this asymmetrical or is it symmetrical? Well, you can easily tell there's symmetry. Think of that butterfly, right? Cut it down to half, and the two sides, the left and the right, look to be equal. What is the ratio, ratio of the number of workers who earn 61 or more to the number of workers who earn less than 61? Remember, a ratio is a comparison of two numbers. We can write it in fraction form. Okay, how many earn 61 or more? Well, here's the 61 or more. That means the 61 to 70 and the 71 to 80. So 6 plus 3 would be 9. And then the workers who earn less than 61 would be the 51 to 60, which is 3. It'd be a 9 to 3 ratio. Simplify. Remember, we simplify just like we do with fractions, and we're going to get a 3 to 1 ratio. And then the last one, what percent of the workers earned a daily wage of $61 or greater? Well, we just said 9, right? So it's going to be 9 out of how many total workers? 12. Simplify that and you get what? Divide it by 3 and you get 3/4. And what percent is 3/4? 75%. All right, good job, Bobcats.